Welcome to Bon Jovi Discussions. Today I have my buddy from Germany. He's actually been on Bon Jovi Discussions before. Ben from Germany. How you doing, buddy?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are doing you?
Doing good, buddy. So if anyone can't tell
Perfect.
from the background of Ben's background, we're talking about this bad boy today.
Yeah,
Slippery,
exactly.
slippery when wet. And we'll just start talking about the album before we get into the tracks. But you and I both know that this was the band's third studio album. This was their make or break album, because they had released their debut and 7800 prior to this, and those were successful, but they weren't huge. And obviously, this is such a monster album. It's a
It
huge.
is. It
It was
definitely.
it was the top selling album in 1987. And I think it's still in the top 100 best albums of all time.
I think
Um,
so too.
yeah, it was released in August 18th, 1986. And it was a lot of the songs were recorded in Richie's mother's basement.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it.
And,
I
and,
know this. I know this. Sorry, I know this live recording from Richie where John makes the introduction and says, "We recorded this in Richie's mother's basement." And
oh yeah.
thanks, Richie's mom, for not doing the laundry this week. So
Yep. And
yeah.
I actually have a fun, cool story on the side. Um, when we went to I go to see the band in New Jersey almost every tour, and so in 2013 we
Okay.
went there for a whole week, and we went to see like Jovi landmarks, like where music videos were shot or photo shoots, blah blah blah. So we went to Richie's childhood home,
Wow.
and as any
Okay.
other fan would, we just took a quick picture in front of the house and kept going our way. And we were wearing Bon Jovi shirts, and the guy that owned the house, obviously Richie's mother doesn't live there, and so it was bought
Yeah.
out. And some guy that owns the house was doing yard work, and he said, "You guys Jovi fans?" Obviously, we were wearing Jovi shirts, so I think he put two and two together there. But I said, "Yeah," and we actually got into talking about how huge of fans we were, and about how his mother's basement is like a huge story. And he's like, "You want to see it?" And so
No
he actually
way.
gave us a tour of inside his house,
Wow,
and
that's so awesome.
we did not ask. He offered. I said, "Yeah," and so we actually got to see where like Richie's room was, and where
Wow.
he took us down to the basement. And the basement, I'm not kidding you, is like so tiny. You know, they're like they must have been crammed or something. So
Oh,
that's my
wow.
little story. Back to the album. It was
Okay.
recorded it was recorded from January to July of '86 at Little Mountain Sand Studios, I think it was called, in Vancouver.
Mm,
It was produced by Bruce Fairborn, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it was mixed by Bob Rock.
yeah.
Um, so originally, I'm sure you already know this story. Originally, they were going to go with a different cover than what we know,
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
trash bag. So it was going to be originally Mark Weiss was their photographer at the
Hmm.
time, and John had the idea of doing like the old cowboy rugged look.
Yeah.
Um, facial hair grown, cowboy hats, and so originally it was gonna be like John standing there, like on in the background, four pictures of the band, and saying "Wanted, Dead or Alive," like a old billboard. And I think the record company shot that down, or someone did. Probably a good idea, and it was going to be called "Wanted, Dead or Alive" instead of "Slippery When Wet."
Yeah.
And so when they were recording this album in Vancouver, um, they were 20-year-old men going to strip clubs, and Tico came up with the idea of "Slippery When Wet."
Yeah.
And so I don't remember where they went, but they went somewhere and started to. Um, they found a girl holding like a hot girl, like holding a bar of soap, saying
Yeah.
"Slippery When Wet." Then it turned into what you and I know. I don't even know if I don't have the image right in front of me here, but
Mhm.
and then that was going to be the album cover, the busty girl.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And with a pink frame, I
yeah,
guess.
that's
Oh,
right. Yeah, I forgot about the
yeah, yeah.
pink frame. And it was released in Japan. And then the record company calls John and goes, we ain't doing that. Or John, I think John called, didn't he? think John,
I don't know how who called
yeah,
who.
yeah. I think John saw the pink frames and and because I think they wanted to take it more serious.
Yeah.
And then so he hurried over to Mark Weiss at his house, and he just took a trash bag and wrote "Super One Wet,"
Yeah.
and that became
Yeah.
the album cover. And Mark Weiss still actually has that garbage bag, which is pretty
Really?
cool. Yeah.
Cool.
So I'm sure it
Okay.
doesn't say "Super One Wet" anymore, but the
Yeah,
fact
of course.
to still have it. And they wrote 30 songs for this album, and only 10 went on it. And
Yeah.
they played these songs in front of what John would call a pizza jury in New Jersey. And
Sorry. What?
a pizza jury, I think it was called. Like it was kind of like a fan club society at the time. So he
Okay.
like bring all these kids or fans and put like go to a pizza joint and play the album, and they would say, "Well, this song probably would go good on the album." See what a fans' opinions were, and
Yeah.
I think that's how it kind of morphed in what songs were going to make the album. Um, so yeah, and then fast forward a little bit to when the album came out, they made this VHS of music videos, which I thought was really cool. We'll get into the tour here in a second, but
Okay.
what I love about this VHS is that in between music videos, it shows like behind the scenes of stuff, because a lot of bands weren't doing that at the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Showing behind the scenes concert footage. Maybe they were. I don't know what I'm talking about, I guess, but I, from my judgment, from looking at other '80s bands, they really didn't do that. And then they released this album in a dual disc too in 2005, same day the Have a Nice Day released, and had a DVD. And have you ever heard the surround sound of it?
Yeah.
It's incredible,
It's
especially like Never Say Goodbye
yeah.
and all that. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
haven't played that in a while. I might have to do that.
Yeah.
But we'll get into the tour. I do have some notes here, so bear with me. Supermut tour from July of '86 to October of '87. It was obviously, and this is what I think is so cool about the band. Obviously, we talked about already about how this was like a make or break album for them, and it just blew up. It was hugely successful. And so debut in 7800, they were torn, but they were supporting acts. And then
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, they were opening up for Rat and Scorpions and Kiss. So all those bands were here. Bon Jovi was here. Slippery When Wet comes out.
Yeah.
That's what I think is so cool. Um, and then, but as you and I both know, they were torn beforehand, and this tour was a 2-year tour, and it wore the band out a lot. John was taking steroids at the end. His voice was, starting to become shot pretty much. And what I think is amazing is that after they finished that tour, 3 weeks later they recorded New Jersey, which is for another discussion.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But
It was until
before,
now. For me, it's one of the best albums ever from every band. I mean, it's definitely my number one.
yeah, I love it. I think the album is more of a fun party type. Well, some songs are like a party type, but I think this is the album where John kind of starts to show more of his heart.
Mm-hmm.
I also think he became more vulnerable in his songwriting in some of these songs, like Without Love and Never Say Goodbye, I Die For You. I think those songs there, I think that he was starting to open up more, because you don't really see that in the first 2 albums, the vulnerability, the openness.
That's right.
I
That's right.
think John was kind of writing for what was out at the time, and then I figured he's got to write to what is true to himself. That's my opinion.
No, I'm definitely with you there. Totally, totally.
Yeah.
It is so.
So before we get into it, what's your favorite song?
Wow, it's so hard for me to. I know that you would ask me this question, but it is so difficult for me to pick one of my faves, because I mean, of course, I love the big hits like Prayer, like Bad Name, and all the stuff. But if you want me to name another song which is not like the top selling #1 song of Bon Jovi from this album, I would go with I Die For You.
I Die For You.
Yeah, I Die For You is one of my favorites of this one. Yeah.
My favorite one, is not actually on the album, but it's an outtake, technically an outtake. Edge of a Broken Heart.
Okay. Yeah, it's
I
pretty similar
absolutely,
to I Die For You.
yeah,
I mean the keys and all the stuff. Yeah.
yeah, you're
Pretty.
right. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're right. But it's my, I was given to a movie called Disorderlies, and on their soundtrack, and thankfully we got it on the 2004 box set.
Yeah.
But other good songs that were outtakes were "Game of the Heart," "Deep Cuts the Night," all those good. There were so many good songs. Like I said, they wrote 30 songs, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's get started. So first track is "Let It Rock." It was
Yeah.
written by John and Richie, and what I love about this song the most is the intro, and it's a great way to introduce the album too.
It is.
The pink flamingos, the
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it's just like a spotlight on David, you know,
Yeah. It
showing
is.
how talented he is.
Yeah. That's the place where exactly, as you said, David introduces the complete album with this intro of Pink Flamingos and all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, I obviously I wasn't alive at the time. I think I was like -6 years old. But the tour videos look so good, like when they would, play that. And David's up there just banging the heck
Yeah.
out of the keys, and damn, it sounds so good. Then all of a sudden the whole band comes in. And another thing I love about the song too is the backing vocals, the whoa,
Uh,
whoa, I'm no singer. But that's what I love about it. And to me, this song is, just kind of about letting loose, having a good time, and I think it's one of those more '80s rock and roll party songs. Just
yeah,
for
it is.
like the line, "You can't stop the fire from burning out of control." I think that, to me, that line is about, you know life and the same routine every day, and trying to tame a fire that, the world's problems. I think this is like one of those songs. Friday nights here, let's have a good time. Let's not worry about work or politics or whatever's going on in the world. It's my take on it. What's yours?
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I think it's like a how to say it in English? Yeah, like a party rock and roll song.
Yeah.
Or yeah, yeah, that's a best description I could it could fit into. Yeah.
Okay. So next question: what's your favorite lyric?
Wow. Okay, a favorite lyric. I think never say goodbye.
Never said for "Let It Rock."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
no,
The lyric. The
I
lyric.
misunderstood. Sorry.
That's okay. That's all right.
You mean from Let It Rock, my favorite
Yeah.
phrase?
Favorite line. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, difficult, difficult.
We can come
Uh,
back to it too.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Mine is, and I won't get too disrespectful. Obviously, on this album, there's some sexual key points.
It
So
definitely
I
has.
won't get I won't get too disrespectful here. But my favorite lyric of this song is, "Well, I saw Roxy on the table, her girlfriend down below, and they'll give it to the king of swing."
Yeah.
I think it's, more into detail, but I think that's pretty obvious.
It is
Richie was having,
totally
and
obvious,
Richie's nickname was King of Swing, so I
of
put
course.
two and two
Yeah.
together there. But so next track, and this is a huge track because this was the band's first
Number
number
one.
one hit. This is what blew them out of the park. "You Give Love a Bad Name," and
Yeah.
it was released as the first single on July 23rd, 1986. It was written by John Ritchie and Desmond Child, and it's one of those great tongue-in-cheek songs. And I love how it starts out. You know, it's no music instruments. It's just shout through the heart and you're too blame. You give love a bad name, and then boom, you know, the guitar. It sounds so good. The drums. You know, and obviously they play it at every show. And yeah, what I liked about it too during a show is as a show opener, like they did in What About Now tour, when you know, the whole it's dark and the band sings "Shot Through the Heart" and "You're to Blame," and then John sings "You Give a Bad Name" and the spotlight hits.
Oh, really? Did he open in the at the US tour with
Yeah,
that one?
in 2013, yeah, that was the show
Okay.
opener on most shows, and it was really cool. And
Okay.
then in 2019 overseas, I think it was 2018 or 19. When they do like the intro, you know, and then John was walking to the stage, and then they
Hmm.
played "You Give a Bad Name." But let's get back to the track. Give me your intake on this song?
To your other question you had, they never opened here at the European tour with "You Give Love a Bad Name." I never experienced a tour where they opened here with "You Give Love a Bad Name."
For not for the 2013 tour. I'm not sure where they did it for this house tour, but they did do it in a couple places. I think I'll have to look at the set lists, but they did do a few shows with opening with that.
Really? I mean, I can only speak about the German shows and some abroad. But the most in 2013, it wasn't "You Give Love a Bad Name" as an opener.
Yeah, it was last tour, 2019. They opened up with it. I'm willing to bet my life on it. I'll after our discussion here, I'll pull up some set lists.
Okay.
They do it a couple times.
Okay. Yeah. What I love so much about "You Give Love a Bad Name" is I'm in love with this riff Richie does during the verse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This you know.
Yeah.
And this one, yeah, it's just so. I once heard an interview where he said when he wrote that intro kind of riff, he was inspired by Another One Bites the Dust by Queen.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Interesting. Yeah. I could see the similarity there.
Yeah, I didn't know it before, and I thought, yeah, it makes totally sense. I see what, yeah, I can realize now what he's was thinking about when he wrote this. Yeah, and yeah, and then of course the chorus, which goes straight forward. It's just an really awesome song until now.
Yeah, I'm glad you also bring up Richie with this song, because another thing I want to say about this album is that this album really electrifies Richie. You know, it really showcases him, spotlights him. And so if anybody was to say, how does Richie sound in the 80s, I'd give him this album, because it just encompasses what Richie, you know, I think a lot of success of the album is because of Richie, you know, with the guitar and, you know, obviously John and the whole band too, but you know, a lot of the guitar parts in these songs are just amazing. You know, it makes the song sound so good. You know, David too. I mean, David's keys on these songs too are incredible. But I also like the music video of the song, because I think this is one of the very first videos where they were just kind of showing how they are on stage. You know, because a lot of like the other bands, and you see it in Bon Jovi's later videos too, is they're always so busy touring, they didn't have time to make music videos. So they just did it while they were on stage. And this is one of the very first live. No, it wasn't live, but it showed them live, and just showing like how they are on stage and having fun and all that. My favorite lyric for the song is "Your first kiss was your very first kiss goodbye." You know, you know, it's just one of those fun.
Exactly, this is the part I love. I love too. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the next track, which is obviously the band's biggest song, this will probably, you know, John always jokes it'll be his in his obituary. Um, but the band's biggest hit, "Living on Prayer."
Yeah,
Uh,
that's pretty number one on my ever best Bon Jovi.
yeah,
The song I love the most is a prayer. Its intro and the use of the effects of the guitar with the talk box, what Richie does, and it's awesome.
yeah,
It's
it
so
sure is. This was the band's second single. It was released on October 31st, 1986.
yeah.
What a Halloween treat! um, but it was written by John Ritchie, and I think Desmond Child also wrote on it too. And like you said, the talk box. Not a lot of not a lot of '80s hair bands were doing talk boxes, so it was kind of like a step out of the norm. And it sounds amazing. It's such a great way to open up the song. And, and you know what else gets me about this song too is that Richie had to convince John that this was a hit song because John didn't think the song was worthy of even being on the album.
No way, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Oh yeah,
No, Richie
yeah,
had to convince him to put it
yeah.
on the
Because
final.
they wrote 30 songs for this album, and everybody loved "Living on Prayer," but John didn't. John was like, "No, this song is a fluke," and he didn't want to put it
No,
on the album. And then Richie actually had to convince him to put it on the album, and luckily it happened. And then there was some more convincing that had to
of
be done
course.
to release it as a single.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Wow.
and
Completely
so
new to me.
so yeah. So John didn't like that. Yeah, John has said it many times in interviews and stuff. I'll have to find that for you.
Okay.
Another thing that I really like about this song, and it's on the VHS tape, their 1987 MTV performance. I mean, John's vocals in that just blows me away in that
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah, it is. The MTV Awards, yeah, was perfect.
Yeah,
This
and obviously it's such a staple in the band's set list. They've opened up with it. It's been in the middle of it. I love it as an opener. Um, like I was saying, it's been in the middle of the set list. But I think right now the band's career, I think it's a perfect way to end the show because
yeah.
I've seen the band 53 times, and I always get goosebumps when that song starts because
Yeah.
you see whether you're a diehard, a general fan, or you don't even care to be there. Doesn't matter who you, even the janitors and the security guards and all those people, they're singing along to that song. It's so electrifying. I couldn't even imagine what it's like to be in the band, having that feeling.
Having
It's just,
experience that, yeah.
it's
Yeah,
just,
that
it's crazy. You know,
it is totally.
and
I mean, when it starts with David doing the keys of the intro, and then Richie comes in with the talk box, it's goosebumps all over.
yeah, and you know what? I'll talk about it as a show opener real quick. I loved when they would like open up with prayer, and then all of a sudden at the end of it, they go into "You Could Love a Bad Name."
Yeah,
I think the
right.
perfect example is the Crush tour. Like you come on, talk to me. All of
Yeah.
that, and then all of a sudden, they do that instrumental changeover into "Bad Name," and it's just so good. I mean,
just
I could.
just yeah. Just wanted to say it at the Crush tour in the DVD, the concert in where was in Switzerland, where they recorded the video for the Crush DVD.
Yeah, yeah,
And in this time they opened with prayer. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I think the meaning of the song is pretty self-explanatory. But this was the introduction to Tommy and Gina.
Yeah.
The working class folks trying to make it, and I think that's what this whole song is about. It's just Tommy and Gina, or whoever, sticking together and making it through anything. It's showing that like a two-income household. Man and wife. Or, Gina used to work the diner all day, working for a man she brings home her pay for love. It's just making it through everything and staying together and hoping you'll make it. Essentially,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a great oh sorry.
That's
It's
okay.
great.
For the room.
It's like a let's call it like a hold on, a believe in him, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, exactly. And it's just it's just incredible. And another thing I like about the song too is the music video. Another
Hmm.
live video. I loved how in the first minute and a half of the video it's black and white. Pretty much watching the band have fun doing sound check and just kind of seeing the band's interaction with each other. That other cameras wouldn't ever see, or people. And then all of a sudden, when John's running back to the stage and he kicks his knee up and it bursts into color, because back then, a lot of TVs were black and white. And I don't know when color TV became a thing, but I think that's when
Yeah,
it was becoming bigger. And it was just so cool to see,
that's
you
right.
know. Um, my favorite lyric to this song is "You live for the fight when it's all that you got,"
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's true. If you have nothing else to fight for, you have, to fight.
It is totally. Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I love most part. Which I love the most is in the pre-chorus, where it says we gotta hold on to what we've got.
yeah,
It
it
doesn't
doesn't.
make a difference if we make it or not. So that's yeah, the introduction of this strong belief that we will make it. Doesn't matter what happens.
Exactly. And one last thing about this song is I think this is one of those songs, and it's obviously true to this day. 34 years later, um, it's timeless. It's a timeless song. It's I think especially right
Absolutely.
now with COVID.
Yeah,
I mean, this song is like the headline of this pandemic right now because we all are living on a prayer to be cheesy there, I guess, but it's true. you
exactly.
know
It's so perfect in this time right now. Yeah,
yeah.
I
So do you
agree.
have any other takes on this song before we get into the next one?
Uh no, no, that's one. Just with the next one.
So next one is Social Disease. This song is I don't even know if John knows this song exists. Social Disease. you know uh it it was written it was written by John and Richie. um and it's like I said, this album, kind of hints at some sexual points. Uh, and
It's
obviously,
definitely this song is the most sexual one.
it sure is, especially the intro. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
remember, I remember being a kid. I was 8 years old in 2000, discovering the band. I
Yeah.
got Crush, Crossroads, and Blaze of Glory first, and I think Slippery was the fourth record that my dad bought me. And I
Okay.
remember listening to this album, and all of a sudden, track number 4. I'm 8 years old, and I started hearing the intro to Social and stuff. Like, what are they doing? I'm asking my dad what they're doing, and I think my dad told me that she was getting a foot rub or something stupid. And then obviously I grew up, and after the
Discovered
becoming
what?
a teenager, she wasn't getting no foot rub. Um, but I love that part where she goes, "That's it." It's we won't get too perverted here or disrespectful. But yeah, this
No
whole song
problem.
is about sex and
It
I think
totally is.
STDs, and it's not a typical Bon Jovi song, But I'm glad they released it because it's just one of those songs that you could just laugh at. I don't mind the song, but it's one of the songs you just laugh about.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same like you said before. I mean, I'm not with that one. I'm not too deep in the lyrics.
Yeah,
That's
me either.
now a line that is markable or special or something like this because I'm with that song. I'm not so deep in the lyrics with it.
Yeah. Well, me
Um,
either. I mean, I don't hold the lyrics to as a Bible, but I do have a favorite lyric. Yeah, I always like this lyric.
yeah,
And
tell
I
me.
think it's in the bridge. So full of high grade octane, she could run the bullet train on 38 double D's. Now you know for sure, you know the cure to make a blind man see. I do. I love the line. You know, it's funny. You know, it's yeah. And they actually did this live a few times too. I think just during the Slippery tour here and there. But
Yeah, it is.
yeah, we'll get into the next song now. Track
Wow.
5 is obviously another huge Bon Jovi hit. "Wanted Dead or Alive." It was the band's third single released on John's birthday, March 2nd, 1987, I believe. It was
Yeah.
written by John and Richie in Richie's basement. And what was I going to say? I had a thought and it went away. Yeah, but it's pretty much more of a. I think this is where John kind of gets into that whole cowboy role. You know, the song's pretty much about life on the road as a rock star, because they were on tour for 2 years straight before this came out, and like on Steel Horse I Ride was obviously about a tour bus.
Yeah.
But what's your take?
I mean, this is. I sometimes called it in the past when I did some posts on Instagram. I called it the hymn of my life because, as you know, I play guitar.
Yeah.
And yeah, this song is pretty much in my in every set I play, at every party, at every event I play outside. It's a great acoustic song, I guess, and yeah, the lyrics and especially the playing of Richie is so awesome in that song. I mean, doing it in the acoustic way and reduce all the band down and make it just voice and guitar and the harmonies, and this is exactly the way I love to do make music. So this one fits so perfect into my setting, and therefore I love this song very much.
It's definitely a John and Richie song. Now, I know I made you do it on the last discussion, but
Yeah,
since you talked about playing the intro on your guitar, you have a guitar beside you?
yeah, of course,
Do the intro.
bro.
Let's hear the intro.
Yeah, let me get it.
All right.
Just wait.
Now the waiting starts. Oh, you found it.
You can hear it?
I can hear it. Good job, buddy.
Thanks, man. Thanks,
I
buddy.
wish I could play like that. And that's such a that's obviously one of Richie's guitars, models, and it's such a
Yeah.
cool guitar. And we talk about guitars.
Yeah.
And what I like about this song too, especially live, now Phil X does the song, but what I like seeing is the guitar change. You see the two neck guitar from when Richie played, and then all of a sudden they go right before the guitar solo, they do a guitar switch, and now it's just one neck electric guitar. This song actually also inspired Blaze of Glory, which was a later release in 1990. But Emilio Estevez for Young Guns 2 wanted to use "Wanted Dead or Alive" for the video or for the movie, and John was like, "No, I don't think it's the perfect fit." And then that's how John wrote "Blaze of Glory." So that's kind of a cool, inspiring thing.
When you look at these two songs, "Blaze of Glory" and "Wanted Dead or Alive," in the songwriting way, let's call it this. I mean, the harmonies and the and the accords he uses and all the stuff is pretty much, it's like it's pretty much the same. I know that it underlines what you said, that Blaze of Glory was written after One Dead or Alive for fitting better into the movie soundtrack.
Yep. Yeah.
It's exactly the way you express the writing skills and all the stuff, and the musician harmonies and all that kind of thing. It's they are so close at each other, these two songs.
Yeah, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
My favorite lyric of this song is, "Sometimes I sleep, sometimes it's not for days. The people I meet, they come and go their separate ways." And it's, in their shoes, it's so true because, being a rock and roll band, you're going from city to city, and it's like meet and greets. Like you're meeting all these people, and they go their way, then you go your way, and it's, really no meaning to them in a way. Do you have a favorite lyric from that song?
Yeah, I love most the part when he says, "I've seen a million faces and I rocked it all."
I love that line. Yeah. Let's go to the next one, the sixth track, which I think should have been a single. I think it would have been perfect as a single. Raise Your Hands.
Yeah.
Uh, it was written by John and Richie, and it's just one of those great concert songs. And this has been a
Great.
show opener. It's been a great show opener. They played in the middle of the set list, beginning, and it's just one of those fun concert songs. I get my arm workout at a show because you're raising your hands so many times, and that's the whole meaning of this song is just going to a concert, enjoying rock and roll, and traveling. And I like from New York to Chicago, from New Jersey to Tokyo.
Yeah.
What's your take on this?
Yeah, it is. As you said, a great live performing track. It works so good at the shows. I mean, I experienced a lot of shows they opened with that here in Europe. So it's a great live song because I can't imagine another song where there's so much interaction between the band and the audience.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that because that's exactly what the song's about. It's about the band and the audience. That concert rock and roll connection. And my favorite lyric too is, "You're out on the run, under the gun, gonna set the night on fire." I love it.
Great part
Do you have a favorite line from it?
I'm not so deep in the most lyrics as I didn't play it
I guess I'm crazy
for myself. So I'm not so deep inside in it that I can name you now a good line.
Okay. I must be so weird that it was lyric because I always listen to a song that, okay, this is my favorite lyric. I love lyrics. I love John's songwriting. I don't know. I guess it's weird. But next one is Without Love, and this was, like I said before, these are one of those songs where John became, I think, a little more open. And I think it's one of the very first ballads that show a lot of his emotion, and it wasn't just about sex and rock and roll and stuff that they were kind of writing about at the time. And what I really love is the guitar and keys in the song. Especially that intro with that, on the guitar, and then you hear the keys in the back, David's keys, and it's such a good song.
It's definitely made for David on the keys. It's definitely a keyboard song.
And I don't think this was ever live, even back in the Slippery tour. I'll have to look at set list. I'm not sure if it was or not. But to me, the whole song's about life. It's kind of like the song "What Do You Got" from 2010. Life means nothing without love. That love pulls us through everything, and and I think the song comes from a view of being broken, being lonely, and not having anyone beside you. what's your take on this song?
Yeah, definitely. As I said, it's one of the songs where David can play the big part,
Yep.
or it most fits for his skills on the keys, and all the stuff, and of course um, the more openness of John with the lyrics and going more into this love kind of, telling the love story thing and all the stuff.
Yeah.
So absolutely great party rock and roll song compared with this part of the love thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have two favorite parts of the song. I absolutely love the bridge. I think this is probably my favorite bridge on the album. I
Oh,
see my life. There's some things I took for granted. Love's passed me by, so many second chances. I was afraid, but I won't be afraid no more.
oh,
I
yeah.
love that line. And then also the first verse. I saw a man down a lonely street, a broken man that looked like me, and no one knows the pain that he's been living. He's lost his love, and still hasn't forgiven. That's the whole. I think that verse right there kind of gives you the whole meaning of what this song is about.
Exactly.
But we'll go to the next one. I die for
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite.
If you have more to say about Without Love, by all means.
No.
Oh, okay.
Let's just go on with that for you.
Okay. I Die for You was written by John and Richie. It's a fan favorite to this day. I remember John kind of brought it back on the last tour, this house tour, and I was lucky. I was not lucky to get to see it. He did a few other shows though, but it's such a good song. I think Tico shines on this album with the way he plays the drums.
Yeah.
Um, it's such a good song. I think it's all about making mistakes in a relationship, but knowing that you're committed to that person, and obviously you're willing to die for that person. That's I think that's like the biggest commitment of all is
It
I
is.
die for you. Nothing says I love you than I die for you. I take a bullet for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. What's your take on the song?
I mean, yeah, I love it. I love the lyrics of this song because it's exactly that what you said, uh, about the way he expresses this kind of step he experienced in his relationship and all the stuff, and of course the music thing, um, or the musical structure of the song I love so much. I mean the beginning with David's keys and all the stuff, and this is the typical 80s style.
Yeah.
All the 80s bands had the sound of the keys and in the intro, and then the riff comes in with the electric guitar. uh, that's what I love about all 80s bands. I mean,
Yeah. They
I'm
all
an
have the
80s
same
kid.
sound, but
Yeah,
different. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm an 80s kid. I love all the great bands from the 80s, whether they are Scorpions, Guns N' Roses, Whitesnake, and all the stuff there from the 80s. And that's why this is my favorite track of that
This is
album.
your
Because
favorite track.
it is so 80s like,
Yep.
so perfectly nailed, and yeah, just great.
And, I also love John's vocals. It's
Yeah,
only for you. I love that. I love the way his voice sounds on this song.
yeah,
And looking back at Slippery Wet tour videos, they did such an amazing performance of this song. I also love it when they did it acoustic. I don't think they did it acoustic until These Days tour. They would do it acoustic. It sounded really good too.
yeah. It is a great acoustic version, but I prefer the original version when they
Oh,
play live.
me
I
too.
never, I unfortunately never heard it live in the original version
Oh man.
at a concert. I never had the chance to.
I don't think I've ever seen it live, to be honest. I know it was played during the Circle tour and then this house tour. Oh, this house tour, I think they only did like 3 or 4 times, but I was unlucky to see it.
Yeah,
But
cool.
the the song live. I did like 5 or 6 shows on this house where it never happened for me.
Okay.
But so my favorite lyric of this is because our love is like a hunger, without it we would starve. And
Yeah,
it's kind of like that
love
back
that
to
part. Yeah.
back to the without love or what do you got kind of meaning. What do you go is until 2010, but love is what gets us through everything. Um, but next
Exactly.
track, yep, next track is this is my favorite on the album. Never Say Goodbye.
Wow.
It was the fourth single released on June 15th, 1987, written by John and Richie. Um, it's just what I really love about this song is pretty much just looking back, holding on to memories, and knowing that change is going to happen, but
Mhm.
you still look back. Um, we talk about "I Die for You," the original versus the acoustic, and I've seen an acoustic a few times and I love it, but I wish I could have seen them play it the electric version, the way it is on the album.
Yeah. Okay.
And
I mean, yeah. Tell me.
go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, I never experienced it live, of course. Um, but the most performances I saw was the acoustic performance of this one, because I think it's one of the greatest ballads. Um, and this one in the acoustic way with the 12-string guitar and the 6-string guitar, it's totally enough to get the audience that intimate feeling of
Yep.
that of
Yep.
that topic he talks about. And for me, this acoustic version is really at the top
Yeah.
from all their performances.
Yep. I'm with you. Yeah.
Totally.
And I love the music video too, because a music video adds such a special touch to a song sometimes, and it's one of these songs that does. Obviously in the video, they're showing all their childhood photos of them growing up, and
Yeah,
I like when John's flying into the crowd, and you kind of get that intimacy. Yeah, you know, it's more of an intimate song, I think. And what else I love
totally.
about the song too is John's vocals, especially at the end when he's finishing the song. He sings "Never Say Goodbye" and he holds the note in "bye." It's just
Mhm.
it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I also love the drums too. I think this is one of those songs too where Tika really shines with drums.
Mhm.
Just the way that he sounds. Um, but
It is.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, in this song, particularly, uh, in the um, in the chorus when they do first and second vocals together, it's such a great
oh,
match of those two voices
oh,
of the
you're
brothers. So,
oh yeah, you're not kidding. Especially the chorus. It's
yeah.
kind of perfect duo song. You kind of like Wanted. Wanted and Never Say Goodbye on this album. Well, Never Say Goodbye acoustic. Really shines the John and Richie relationship. You know,
Yeah,
um,
perfect. At its best, yeah.
yeah. And my favorite lyric for this song is the intro is I sit in the smoky room the night about to end. I pass my time with strangers, but this bottle is my only friend. You
Hmm.
know, kind of really ties into the Wanted Dead or Alive. People going their separate ways, or without love, being lonely. But yeah, um, so the next one on the album is actually the last track of the album, "Wild in the Streets."
Yeah.
It was technically a final single in some countries. Here in the U.S., it was never a single, but it was released as a music video, and it's actually my second favorite on the album. It was written just by John on this album,
Mm.
the only song that's written by John, and it's such a uh, you know having the time of your life, essentially. I think kind of like looking back to it, your youth, taking on the streets, and as a teenager, being a kid, those are your streets. And
Exactly. Yeah, I'm totally with you on this. It's a yeah, as you said, looking back to your childhood and to your youth and what you all experienced, yeah,
Yeah.
and just
Um,
put into a great track with great. I mean, this is another track where it is made for David for the keys. I think
oh,
this track.
absolutely.
So yeah, he could totally freak out on the keys on that, and it's a perfect match for him.
Oh, it is. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll ever get to see this song live again. But I was listening to the Live from London album yesterday. Our performance,
Okay.
and I was listening to Water in the Streets, and I was like, "Damn, this sounds so good!" And I
Yeah,
wish we could see it live again. Obviously, vocal wise, it's very high, and I don't think
it
it's very.
is. It would never happen
No, no,
because vocally, it's not.
yeah.
He's not in the condition to make it. But yeah, I would love to hear it live.
And we're talking about the keys too, and I also want to mention about Richie's guitar solo.
Yeah,
Richie and David coming together on that guitar solo. So you
yeah,
hear the keys, the da da da
yeah.
da da da
Yeah.
da. Then Richie,
Then
it's
Richie comes in.
just
Yeah,
so good. And I also love the music video
yeah.
because if you play Wanted Dead or Alive music
Hmm.
video, it shows them all worn out and kind of hamster wheel kind of life. Then you put this video on, and you're seeing the good times of a show and of a tour, and it's a party song. It's a fun video too, and yeah, it's just and my lyric too is we're cruising in the backseat, making love in the
Hmm.
backseat. It's just it's such a good song.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
do you have any other takes on this album or song before we wrap up?
I mean, when you said you love one of the outtakes, "Edge of the Broken Heart," it's another great song.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it's yeah. It's a shame that it didn't made it on the record.
yeah, because
Um,
I think it would have been. It's kind of like Living on a Prayer theory, where Richie had to tell him to put it on. I
yeah,
wish that it was kind of pushed that he put it on. Yeah, because I think it would have been a major hit. You
yeah,
know,
of course.
but at least we got the song, and it's so good. But but anyway,
It's- yeah. At
we
least this was the most impressive fact. As I told you, I didn't know that Richie has had to convince John to make "Living on a
yeah,
Prayer" on that album.
yeah.
So
John had
I,
said it
I can't believe this.
yeah, yeah. I find an interview where John said that. They said it so many times, but yeah. But anyway, buddy, it was great having you on again. It's always a
Yeah,
fun chat with you. Whether we're chatting on here or talking online through messages and stuff. So I hope you're staying safe, and thanks for coming on, buddy.
stay safe too,
All
and
right,
see you.
take care, buddy.